Good evening. I'm your host, Dan Stafford, with the Midwestern Geek in Cali podcast, podcasting from 42 Tardis Way here in lovely Temecula, California, summer's winter home. And this evening, I am grateful for my subscribers. I have a total of 7 right now, one of which is me. Yeah, I'm a firm believer that you should subscribe to your own YouTube channel, podcast, videocast, blog, whatever you're doing. Obviously, because if something happens to the platform, you at least have a copy of your own content. It gives you an incentive to review what you've actually done. And it's really just a good thing to do all together. But that means I have 6 actual subscribers. Yeah, I've had a couple of Manhattans tonight. You can actually say that I'm out in the garage just a little bit buzzed doing my YouTube channel tonight. I'm coming up on a couple of really fun but busy weeks, extremely busy weeks. I'm looking at least 60 hours a week minimum to cover my obligations. So it's Friday night going into Saturday, and I think I'm entitled to enjoy myself a little bit on the weekend. However, there's also a little bit of a somber note. Now, as some of you may know if you've watched through my YouTube playlist, that I have a long history with internet poetry. And I've had I've had many long friendships, several. With internet poets from around the world, some in Great Britain, several in the U.S., other countries as well, and one in particular in Australia, and this is the year anniversary of her passing away. So there is a poem that I would like to recite that is a memorial to my passed away friend, Janine Daniel, and it is entitled The Singing Fairy. She could bend the world with her voice, hearts with a glance. With a pencil and pen and ink, the universe was hers in a flash. Swimming in dew pools or through the air, with a quill in hand and song to lips, all hearts, melting out your ears. The world is all strung together with a laugh, don't you know? We'll never know what got her in the end, but her song, forever, it still echoes on the wind. Just listen. And that, my friend Janine, wherever you are in this crazy universe of ours, that one is for you. And your family, and your friends, and your fellow poets who miss you. It's an interesting world. Well, I'm being pretty obvious here tonight, okay? I watched Bill Maher tonight, and it just freaking irked me. They're so out of touch. So out of touch. No matter which side of the political debate you're on, whether it's a third side, a fourth side, or a fifth side, if you're not wealthy in this country, you haven't gotten a real raise in 40 years. Not a real one. Rural towns, I know you have been hammered out there. I've seen it with my own 2 eyes. I know about little factories going and closing up and drying up and blowing away. And I know little towns are dependent on 1 or 2 little small factories. I know things used to be made in this country because I witnessed it with my own eyes. I'm 56 years old, so I know, I've seen it. And I don't care if you're green, purple, red, or blue. Whatever. Color is not the issue for me. I understand that there's, a systemic thing going on, but I can't control that personally. What I can say is what I've witnessed. And I have witnessed the hollowing out of this economy. I've witnessed all the oxygen in the room being sucked up to the top. I've witnessed the regular working stiff get stiffed overall. Unemployment numbers 4.3. Yeah, right. That just counts the people that are either applying for unemployment or on unemployment. Doesn't count people who have had unemployment expire without getting a job. Doesn't count people who are working part-time and need to be working full-time. It's tweaked. All right, the numbers are tweaked. And I sit around and I watch somebody like Bill Maher and a bunch of other either millionaires, multimillionaires, or at least high six figures income people sit around and talk about, I can't believe Bill Maher called for a recession. He's like wishing for a recession. For a guy like me, that's like kick me in the ass, in the face, in the teeth, whatever. Yeah. Really? You want a recession? Yeah. Okay, I'm not a fan of this president. But do I want this president to fail? No, because that's going to kick me in the ass. And it's going to kick all my friends in the ass. And it's going to kick my family in the ass because we're middle class to lower middle class people. I can tell you, I remember times when I was a kid when I literally watched my mother eat popcorn and drink water so that us kids could have food. I've literally seen that happen with my own eyes when I was a little kid going to preschool. Like Head Start. All right? And I know there's a lot of you out there that can relate. And really, I can't believe that the regular folks out here, us working stiffs, are really fighting with each other. Really? We're fighting with each other? How is that going to win for any of us? You know, when it comes to Washington, bought and sold, folks. Bought and sold. I know this is supposed to be a geek show, but really, don't we all live on what we can pull into those wallets? Don't the white folks, the brown folks, the black folks, the yellow folks, the red folks in this world, in this capitalist world, don't we all live on what we can pull in our wallets? Every last one of us. Yeah. And we're going to fight amongst ourselves. We're going to sit there and we're going to say, hey, you're not on my football team. It ain't football. All right. Bill Maher and politics and all of it. It's just like crap. And I'm sorry, but some billionaire up in Washington isn't going to solve it for us. It's not going to solve it for my neighbor next door. It's not going to solve it for my neighbor across the street. It's not going to solve it for my family in Wisconsin. It's not going to solve it for me. If we're not together, we're going to get our asses handed to us. And I know I'm not supposed to be talking like that on YouTube, but it's the truth. It's really the truth. Now, I didn't think I was going to sneak in another video here before I have to go to work and do all kinds of stuff, but now I just had to say this. You know, My grandparents were immigrants to this country. So I don't have a problem with people immigrating to this country. I don't. I have great grandparents, grandparents, etc., all that came here from other countries. I have grandparents that adopted my mom that came from Italy. My great grandparents on one side came from Denmark. I have grandparents that came here from Ireland. I have great grandparents that came here from England. I have some great grandparents that made it here from France. All right, yeah, Europe and the Netherlands, okay. But, go way back. I've had my DNA test done. I've got DNA from all over the world. And I do mean all over the world. And have you ever looked at a picture of the Earth from space? Does it have lines painted on it? I know there's lines painted on paper, but does it have lines painted on it? Aren't we really all on one big ball here? All in it together? And we're going to let a few people at the top sit there and split us. And make us all fight with each other. And scrabble for the scraps. While they sit there and eat gold-plated chicken wings. I've seen that on Facebook. It's a true thing. Gold-plated chicken wings. Really? Can't be fighting with each other. It doesn't work. Doesn't work for the most of us. I will tell you that this country, at its most prosperous, had a nice mix of socialism and capitalism. It wasn't all one, wasn't all the other, and it wasn't communism. It was a mix. And people started to get fairly prosperous, and then we let the banks go hog wild. We let the executives go hog wild. We let mergers go hog wild. And really, how many of us are going to be billionaires? I don't care what somebody does for a living. To me, I have the utmost respect for someone who gets up and goes to work every day and actually gets something accomplished that helps their fellow human being. I don't care if I need clean dishes. I don't care if you're washing dishes, because to me, if you're washing dishes, that's something I need, or you wouldn't be doing it. I don't care if you're sweeping floors. I don't care if you're scrubbing toilets. I don't care if you're building bridges. I don't care if you're making jet airplanes. I don't care if you're making skyscrapers. We need all of those things. All of them. Every last thing that people do that actually do something and make something and create something and make things better for all of us, we need all of those things. And I respect anybody that does any of them. From picking tomatoes and potatoes to sweeping floors to teaching kids in college to almost anything, but sitting there as a CEO collecting $150 million a year to go out and sell bullshit and lay people off. Think what you want, but I have to spout it. I think I'm a fan of working people. I am. Because working people are what really make the world go round. The rest of it, about. Propaganda, sales, bullshit. So, soapbox aside. All right. I'm coming up on 2 weeks where I'm going to be doing full-on training for a new job. The job is going to be part-time, substitute on-call, basically when somebody is sick or when somebody needs to take vacation. That's when I'm going to get to work. But for 2 weeks, I'm actually going to get full-time, and have to go to school half-time. So for a minute there, it might seem like I actually have a real paycheck, and maybe with a little luck down the road, I'll have a real paycheck and a full-time job. But I get to do something I love. I get to do IT, and I get to teach people. And I like both of those things. I enjoy both of those things. I like helping people, and I like teaching people tech. So that's going to be cool. Now, back to my subscribers. I have 6 real subscribers. And JS, we've had several phone conversations. I want to thank you for the ideas. I do have those floating around in my mind, and I am taking it to heart. I'm trying to play with ideas. I don't have a lot of funding, and I have to kind of like rob Peter to pay Paul to get time to do this channel. Right now, the way things are, and I would love to have a cool backdrop or be able to do this outdoors, but I have to steal minutes from the middle of the night to get this channel done at all. I do this channel as a labor of love. Would I love to turn it into a living and be able to go cool places and do cool things? Well, I watch shows like Huell Hauser, who travels around California looking for cool and fun and interesting and unusual things around the state. I like Joel Green and the Inland Empire Explorer. I like that show. I like Huell a little better because it's a little less featured on local business and restaurants and more featured on really cool California history. But I like both. I've done several shows where I interview local entrepreneurs because I value local entrepreneurs. Local businesses are one of the best things that can happen to us as a society. We should be supporting local businesses wherever we can. And I don't just mean mine, I mean all of them. Because when you support a local business, that money goes right back into the local economy. It doesn't go floating over to another state. It doesn't go floating over to another country. That money stays right here. It gets spent here. It flows here. If money's not moving around here locally, if it's not flowing, it's not doing jack. If that money gets pulled off to somewhere else, it isn't doing us any good here. So your little local businesses, that money's going to go right back into the economy that feeds you and your family. Just saying. So I will interview a local entrepreneur until the sun stops shining and the moon falls onto the planet. In corporate places, I could care less. They're going to suck the money out of here and they're going to take it away somewhere else. So, yeah, I use a few corporate places because you know what? You have to. But wherever I can, I'm going to give my energy, time, and effort and money to local. And just saying. So you'll see more local entrepreneur interviews coming along. You'll see more tech shows, tech stories coming along here. And yeah, I'm kind of rambling a little bit tonight. So those of you that have subscribed, thank you. Over time, as my situation in life changes, I intend to make this a better channel. I intend to make it a more fun channel. But tonight, I'm going to take my 2 Manhattans and run. Yeah. But thank you. thank you to my 6 actual real subscribers. And thank you, JS. I appreciate the time and effort you put into this. Eric and Eric, and you're both friends. EW, I've known you since I was 4 years old, man. Yeah, you can't replace that. And EJ, we've had many long late night discussions, and I'm looking forward to some more. And I want to get a couple of them on here because you have some pretty interesting opinions, and you have some valuable input. And I would really like to get you on this thing, even if it's voice only. That would be a cool thing. Eric, EW, you know more about comic books than pretty much anybody I know. I remember way back in the day when you were in Mad City working at that comic book store. Man, I haven't forgotten that. I have not forgotten that. And just saying, I want to talk about that one that we were discussing on the Facebook group. And Brian, here in town, I know you put a little time in here and there, and I know you listen, and I appreciate that. I appreciate you. I want to get you on here as well too, because you have some cool things in the works that I don't want to give away what it is, but I want to get you on here talking about it, and it has to do with this. So just saying, I know you folks are out there. Trudy, I miss your mom, and I'm grateful that we've developed a relationship on Facebook. I appreciate your enthusiasm and appreciate your effort that you're putting into that. I don't take it for granted. And well, the rest of you, whoever's watching out there, thank you. I mean that. And on that note, I need to get my butt into bed because I got to go to school tomorrow. And Review Bra, if you ever see this, I'm really digging your show, man. You're like a young Peter Lorre, and it's really cool. It's a little bit off the wall and a lot fun. And I've enjoyed that. And JS, thank you for introducing me to that channel. I actually enjoy subscribing to it. Young fella just made himself a 1 million subscriber channel. Wow, that's quite an accomplishment. That's really quite an accomplishment. You don't get that easy. You certainly don't get it in the few minutes in the middle of the night that I do on this channel. Wow. Just saying. So everyone, thank you for watching. Happy Vulcan fingers to you from the Agent of 42. May there never be a rogue wave in your coffee mug. And good night.